So as my month of epiphanies and realizations and personal growth continues, I had another aha moment in the last few days. And it revolves around kind of the growth of the individual, the growth of the self. And I think we go through these phases where, we have to convince ourselves and constantly think about the version of ourselves that we want to become. So we're thinking to ourselves internally about this future version, and we're telling ourselves that's who we're going to become, and we can see it and we can believe it. And it's constantly running in our mind because we want it so bad. And maybe we even believe that we have to tell ourselves that so many times for it to actually happen. So that's one of the early phases. And then the next phase becomes where you begin to believe it. You start to tell other people. It's almost like, for me, I felt like sometimes I had to put it out in public so I would actually make it happen. I needed that peer pressure to keep it going. So if I put it out there, then I had to do it. Or maybe I would pivot back after I try to experience it. But then you start talking about this future version of yourself you're becoming. I'm gonna do this thing, and I'm putting it out there in public. I'm building in public so other people can see. And there's benefits of building in public, but sometimes you're just talking about it, and maybe that talk about it publicly is hoping that it just kind of happens. So you've gone from it running around in your mind nonstop to now you're sharing it with others and you're talking about it to help you make this thing come. And then you kind of realize that you don't really need to talk about it anymore. And at some point, and I don't know when that point is or how you make it happen, you get to this point where you no longer have to tell yourself that you're going to become this future version. You are already that future version of yourself today, even though the physical world hasn't seen it. Like, you can't see it, but you know that that's who you are. And now you don't even have to think about it. And that just recently happened for me. I'm not going to tell you about it because there's no reason for me to tell you about it. You'll see it in the future. But I don't even have to think about I'm going to become this version of myself. I'm already there. And now all of this mind space and this energy and these thoughts free up because I'm not constantly thinking about what I'm going to become and where I want to go. I'm already there. Myself is already there. You just can't see it yet. So I don't need to tell myself, and I sure as hell don't need to tell you about it anymore because it's already there. I know that you're eventually going to see it. I know that when you move to this point, the physical world lags because it takes time for everybody else to see it and things to come to where they're supposed to be. This is when people talk about manifesting. I don't want to throw that term out there because I think when you hear people talk about manifest, we go woo-woo, and a lot of people write it off. The reality of it is your thoughts become your reality. You can't become something if you don't believe it. And you will reach a point where you no longer have to tell yourself because you don't just believe it, you have become it already internally. And then that's when it happens on the outside. So the point of this rambling note is remember that, you have to tell yourself constantly before you can kind of buy into it. But the quicker you can shorten that process up of telling yourself than telling the world, and then just embodying and realizing that you are that version of yourself and that things will catch up, the quicker you'll make that leap. Whether it's a quantum leap or not, I don't know. I'm not deep enough into quantum physics to be able to speak to the truth of that. But I am telling you that there is a process. You tell yourself a bunch. It takes up a lot of mental space and energy. You tell the world because you think that that's going to help you get there. But then eventually, and I don't know when that point is, you actually are already that person and you realize it, and you don't have to tell yourself and you don't have to tell the world. You're just going to let it happen. It's true. I just need you to believe me on it. And then one day you're going to make that connection. You're going to realize that that is the point. So shorten that cycle up. And I think you make these leaps a lot quicker and you expend a lot less energy and you can be more creative and you can get where you want to be a lot faster.